Still testing out different locations in the room and seeing what works best. So we're going to be, you may want to have a pen and paper. I didn't mention this before, but because it's the eclipse tonight, it's a full moon and eclipse, and it's a wonderful opportunity to do a little bit of intention setting and release work, right? So letting go of the things that you don't need anymore, just letting yourself shed what doesn't serve you. So at any time, you can get a pen and paper. About halfway through, we'll do a little bit of work and then some visualization for manifestation. So I'm going to get you to come to laying down. Let's start on our backs. And you can bring your legs into a comfortable position that feels good for you. So that could be constructive rest, where your feet are apart and your knees are leaning together, or it could be butterfly legs. Feel free to support underneath the legs if you want. In butterfly legs, you could put pillows or blocks under to rest the outside of the legs on. Just makes it a little more restorative. And then go ahead and close your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths and just allow yourself to arrive on the mat. Start to become present and aware of your breath and your feeling. Start to allow your breath to become deeper, more full, longer on the inhale, longer on the exhale. Soften your face, your forehead, your eyebrows. Soften your third eye. Agya chakra at the point between the eyebrows. We've been working with this chakra this week using visualization, concentration, mudra, mantra. So today we'll be using a little bit of visualization here. So I'm just going to invite you to visualize the color indigo, like a dark blue at the point between the eyebrows. And just take a couple more breaths here. Full inhales, full exhales. Sometimes it just feels nice to lay down on the floor. The floor, because it's so flat, it gives us really good support and feedback in our bodies. So what I mean by that, for example, is if we just take our attention to the backs of our hips for a moment, and just become aware of the points of the back of your hips that are touching the floor. And just kind of check in and see if the hips feel even. Is there the same amount of pressure on the left as there is on the right? So just observing. Maybe one hip feels heavier than the other, or like there's more contact. Notice also the small of your back. If one side feels like there's more contact than the other. Notice also the upper back, the backs of your shoulders. See if you can observe any differences between the left and the right side. Maybe one feels like it lays flatter on the floor than the other. And then let's just take a nice deep breath. Inhale through the nose, and with a little smile, let out a long sigh and just let your body melt into the earth. Letting go. And as we accept that support from the ground, let's go ahead and bring the knees together, place the soles of the feet flat. Bring the right knee into the chest. Give the right knee a little hug in towards the right shoulder. You can straighten the left leg down on the floor if you like, or keep the left leg bent. Relax the shoulders. Take a couple of nice long breaths here. We've also been working with intuitive movement this week. So I've been inviting you to allow your body to make any intuitive movements that come to you, right? Like maybe your head just starts to feel like it wants to roll a little side to side, or maybe your ankle wants to circle, like these kinds of things that just feel good. Let yourself do these things if you're feeling called to do them. And take a couple of breaths here. I'm just continuing to allow the body to release into the mat. Good. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Carol. Let's release and change sides. Bring the right foot down, bring the left knee in. So as we're hugging the left knee in, bring it out to the left side, around the left side of the ribs, and then in towards the left shoulder. What that does is it gives the belly space to breathe. You can straighten the right leg if you want. And then again, if you did something on the other side, go ahead and do something on this side. Maybe you're rolling the head side to side or circling the ankle. But just continue to stay present with your breath. Nice long inhales and exhales. Just nice and gentle. This pose is great for squeezing the digestive system, right? A descending colon is getting massaged here on the left side. And it's also a nice little stretch for the low back, so helping to release tension in the low back. Let's take one ha breath here. In through nose, out through mouth. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to begin to flow here. So as you inhale, bring both knees in. As you exhale, switch your hands to the right knee and stretch your left leg out towards the foot of the mat. Now it can be in the air somewhere. It can be high, medium, or low. Low is more challenging. Then as you inhale, bring both knees back in, switch, hug the left knee, and exhale, stretch your right leg out, squeezing the belly in. Inhale to hug both knees, exhale, stretch the left leg out, hug the right knee in. And just continue to alternate. Inhaling as both knees come in, exhaling, we switch to the other side. And continue, just finding a nice gentle rhythm here. Squeezing the belly in, that's what's holding the leg, is the core. And just continue to flow evenly from side to side. You're more than welcome to close eyes while you're moving here. Just focusing on that third eye point. Good, nice. And next time the left leg is stretched out, raise the left leg up towards the ceiling and just circle the left wrist or left ankle around. It's funny how your brain can get confused with you're talking about your ankles or your wrists. The wrist of your foot. Circle both ways, go one way and then the other. Just continuing to let that breath flow. And then we'll change. Hug the left knee in, extend the right leg up and circle the right ankle around. So if I find myself lucky enough to be in Kamloops in the fall, I will for sure be offering some more park yoga for us to hang out in person. So we're going to circle the other way around. I love doing yoga outside. I might do some studio classes too, but the weather is going to be probably pretty good in September. So I'm looking forward to it. Nice. Okay. After circling both directions, release, hug your knees in, left hand on left knee, right hand on right knee. And we're going to circle the knees together and into the chest as we exhale, apart and away from the face as we inhale. Exhale, knees together and in towards the chest. Inhale, apart and away from the face. So they're making these mirrored circles with each other. Just take a couple of rounds there, just warming up the hips. I love this floor work. It's so good if you're just feeling low energy or you're feeling like you want to ground or just do a gentle evening stretch before bed. It requires so little effort and energy. Just change the direction of your circle. Go around the other way. Don't worry too much about synchronizing the breath. You can just breathe any way that feels natural, feels good to you. And when you're finished, you can gently release the knees, stretch the body long, straighten the arms, straighten the legs. Point your toes and reach your fingers away from your toes. Get really long. A deep breath in. Feel the stretch in your belly as you reach your body long. You're putting a little arch in the back. Reach, 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 reach. And then release. Bend the knees. Gently roll over onto your side and walk yourself up. All right. It's incredibly rejuvenating too. Let's come to sitting on our blanket fold. It's incredibly rejuvenating too to just roll around on the floor. Now you're just kind of gathering energy up. Okay, so sitting on your bolster or your blanket, stretch your arms out to the sides. We're going to take eagle arms. So you're going to cross the left arm under the right and either wrapping the arms up, finding some kind of a hook, or if there's no connection, if you can't hook there, just hugging, self-hug. And then we're going to side bend. A little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. Just kind of leaning left, leaning right. I like the light in the new house. We've got really good light here, which I love. This is really good for filming. Come back to center and then go up and down. You can inhale as you lift the elbows. Exhale as you drop the elbows down. So just do that a couple of times. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Just feeling how that feels in the back of the shoulders. One more time. On your next inhale, open the arms wide. Change the cross of your arms, cross your right arm under your left. I'm mirroring you. So self-hug, we're wrapping arms up, eagle arms. We're just gonna lean a little side to side. This is really just a kind of a free form movement. Leaning left, leaning right, relaxing shoulders, breathing. Focus on relaxation and letting go here rather than the doing of it. Head is loose. You can feel so sweet and nurturing that. And then when you're ready, come back to center. Inhale to lift elbows up. Exhale to bring them back down. Just really slow and mindful. Do that 2 more times. Building heat, even with that gentle little bit of movement. After your last one, after your last exhale, inhale as you open arms wide and exhale, release the hands down behind you. Uncross the legs, take the feet a little bit apart and lift the front body. Take a little baby back bend here. Lift the heart, roll the shoulders back, lead into the front body. Lifting the chest. Good, nice. One more big breath here. Stretch the heart open and exhale to release. Now we're gonna make our way into hands and knees, tabletop position, and move into kind of an interesting shape that gives a little bit of a side bend. So pad your knees Your hands are under your shoulders, knees under hips. What we're gonna do is we're gonna walk our hands over to the right side so that your spine's in a little bit of a curve. You're gonna walk the hands to the right side and your hands are about shoulder width apart. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna exhale and drop the hips towards the heels. Maybe not all the way, but just to where you're comfortable. And then as you inhale, come back up, staying in that curve. And just going forward and back. So you're exhaling, hips move back. You can bow the head if you want to here. Inhaling as you rock forward. And just take your time with it. Let it be really sweet. Notice where you're feeling it in your body. I find with these, the slower you go, the more delicious it gets. You want more time to feel. Good. And then when you're done, coming back up, walk hands back through center and over to the left side. So just walking yourself into a curve to the left. Then as you exhale, sinking hips towards the back, towards the heels. Inhale as you rock back up onto the hands. And just do that a few times with your breath. And again, feel free to close your eyes, go internal, exhaling back, inhaling forward. Notice where you feel that in your body, if anywhere. I'm sure you'll feel it somewhere. It's just a matter of where, because everybody's different. You might feel it in your shoulder, you might feel it in your ribs. Good, last one. And coming back up, walk back to center. Let's bring the elbows down to the mat. You can clasp the hands together. Stretch your right leg back with the toes on the floor. Let's stretch into the calf a little bit. So the toes are on the mat. Press your right heel back. And as you inhale, press your toes into the mat and rock forward onto the forearms a little bit. Exhale, press the heel back. Feel the little calf stretch there. Inhale as you rock forward. I'm just doing this a few times with breath. I'm going to feel that your right leg is quite active, right? Your upper thigh, your quadricep is engaged. You're pressing the floor away with your toes. Again, the next time that you're in the calf stretch, let's pause there and take 3 ha breaths. So in through nose, out through mouth. Breathe into the calf muscle. Breathing into there. 2 more breaths. Last one. And gently release. Back to the knees and switch sides. Stretch the left foot back. Toes curled under. Exhale to press the heel back. Inhale to rock forward, pressing the toes on the mat. And just continue. This is where you get to find out, like, oh, I've got all these little tight spots in my body, like calves can be really tight and they can be sneaky because you don't really notice it. It's not like hips where you're like, whoa, my hips feel tight. Calves can be tight and you might not discover it until you do something like this. Good. Next time you're holding the calf stretch, take 3 ha breaths with a smile. Breathing right into the calf. Beautiful. Then gently release And we're going to come to seated. So you can gently sit the hips down. No blanket this time. We're going to sit with the feet to the left side and getting ready for sage twist. So your top ankle, the left foot ankle, is going to rest on the arch of your bottom foot. So it's kind of like a chopstick holder. Your ankle rests on the arch. Bring your fingertips beside you and press the floor down to lift the crown, to straighten the spine up and lift the heart. And just take a couple of breaths here with this nice lift in the spine, lift in the body. Just pressing the floor up and pressing the floor down and growing tall through the spine. Pressing the floor up. Oh my goodness. Okay, so keep pressing the floor up. Stretch your left arm up. Tickle the ceiling. Really reach, and then gently twist over your right shoulder so you can cross the hand over, and then walk your right hand a little more behind you. So you're twisting over your right shoulder. Relax your shoulders. Let's take a honeybee breath here, teeth apart, tiny smile. Here we go. Inhale. I feel like one more. Feel free to join me for one more if you feel it too. Sometimes the first honeybee just kind of scratches the surface. Let's untwist, come back to center. And the second honeybee gets in that extra layer. Let's switch sides with the feet to the right side. Stack the top ankle on the arch of the bottom foot. Fingertips beside your hips and pressing the floor down to lift up through the front body. So just like this, helping us with our posture, right? So instead of being scrunchy down here, we lift. So there's this real lengthening going on in the spine. From there, reach your right arm up, stretch up, lengthen the spine, twist over your left shoulder, crossing the hand over. Twisting to the left, walk your left hand behind you, softly turning the head. One or two honeybees here, it's up to you. A long hum with a smile. Here we go. Keep breathing. Come on back to center. You know, those honeybees in the evening are really helping with the melatonin production. You can windshield wiper knees a little here if you like. Just a little side to side. And before we go into our restoratives are going to focus on third eye. But before we go into that, I wanted to take a moment to do a little bit of short writing exercise. I know, right? You came to move, not to write, but if you want to have a pen and a piece of paper, what we're going to do is, this is really helpful for sort of guiding ourselves through this lunar eclipse, full moon energy. On your paper, you're going to write down just 3 things that you want to let go of, right? They could be energies, belief systems, things that you're doing, things you're holding on to that you feel that you've outgrown. 3 things that you are letting go of, that you're intending to let go of. So let's just write down 3 things. They could be things like self-doubt, fear of the dentist, negativity, any of these things. And then on a separate piece of paper, you can rip that piece off. That piece, you can do a little burning ceremony. What you're letting go of, you can burn that in your little fire pit in your backyard. On the other piece of paper, I'm going to invite you to write 3 things that you would like to manifest or invite in, right? Energies, attitudes, new ways of being, living, whatever. 3 things that you want to invite in. And we're going to use these 3 things later in our meditation. So make sure you get them written down there. Mm-hmm. And when you're done with that, you can just set it aside and we'll come back to it later. So our first restorative is going to be a wide-legged, head-supported pose. And we're going to do I'm going to do a couple head-supported poses, but the first one, you can sit on your blanket fold, or if you are quite stiff in the knees or the legs, you can bend your knees in this one. It's totally up to you. You could have your head resting on a chair. You could lean your bolster towards you and rest your head on your bolster, on your hands. But what you're looking for is support. So the way that I usually try to set up my support is I go as far as I can in this forward bend and see how far I can go. And then wherever my head ends up, wherever that last place is, that's where I'm going to find support. So whether that's a chair, whether that's blocks, bolsters, you name it. And it's different for everybody. We've been doing this a little bit all week, so you might be a little bit familiar already with what kind of setup your body needs. Feel free to get creative with it. My body's going to come down a little bit further, so I want to have that support. I want you to have the support meet you where you're at. Okay, and you could have the head on the hands. Feel free to get creative with whatever props you need. Maybe it's a blanket on a chair. And then just settling in, resting the third eye point on the hands or on the block or the bolster. And let's take 3 ha breaths here and just let ourselves melt in to the support. Allow yourself to soften with each exhale. And just practicing melting the body, melting the shoulders, melting the arms, melting the jaw, the tongue, and the throat. Let your mind rest on your breath. Just feeling that gentle flow. The seed mantra for the third eye chakra for accessing intuition, concentration, inner seeing is Om. So if you like to use the silent sound of Om internally, silent mantra, just chanting Om silently, continuously. Continuously chanting Om internally, feeling that vibration harmonizes us with the resonance of that chakra, the sound of Om vibrating at the same frequency as the third eye center, helping to balance and open this chakra, this energy center. And in this way, it activates our intuition, our concentration, our inner seeing through that connection to sound, vibration, and energy. So leave the sound of Om, leave the silent chanting, and just notice how you feel. And the chanting of mantras also protects the mind, so your mind might feel more still and calm. Take a nice deep breath here, cleansing breath. And then slowly, when you're ready, go ahead and walk yourself up, nice and slow, especially if you have your legs still straight. You want to very gently guide your knees to bend. And we're going to come into a restorative butterfly, but a seated one. So bringing the feet together, and we'll start, bring the soles of the feet together. And we'll just counter pose with a little back bend first. Bring the hands behind and lift the chest. So a little opening in the front body here for a couple of breaths. Nice deep breaths in, arch the back, lift the heart, and breathe into front body there, shining the heart out. And then from there, we can start to come forward and find our support again for our head. So same as when we had the legs extended, we might have a chair, just like a kitchen chair with head on the hands, or if that doesn't reach, then you can stack blankets and then put your hands and then your head. Because if you're up here, right, then you might have needing a higher support. And then if your body goes further down, you're going to find where your edge is. And that's where you got to build something to build some kind of structure. And it doesn't matter what it is. It really doesn't matter what it is. It could be a couple of blocks and a bolster on top. And just as long as your head is supported, right? And you're comfortable or reasonably comfortable. So build what you got to build with the props that you've got. And then settle in. We'll just do like a not too long of a hold here, just 4 to 5 minutes. Let yourself release into the support. Take a couple of ha breaths. Feel yourself soften. And then begin to internally make the sound of Om, long vibrations of Om, hearing the sound inside. It's sort of like visualization, but it's sound instead of sight. You're imagining the sound of Om. You might notice how soothing it is to the mind. And leave the chanting. Take 2 deep breaths. And slowly, gently walk yourself back up, nice and slow. Let's take one more little back bend, just a nice little counter pose, a couple breaths, lift the chest, roll the shoulders back. So delicious. Okay, so our next pose is going to be a restorative face down Salabasan, which is a fancy word for locust pose. You're going to need your 2 blocks, or if you don't have blocks, you can use books. And you're going to place them at the fronts of your shoulders so that they're lined up with the shape of your arm, right? So they're at an angle, a 45-degree angle, like so, laying down on your belly. 45-degree angle blocks. They can be on the low setting or the medium setting. Some people enjoy that. Depends kind of just on your body, and you can try them both ways and see what feels best for you. You're going to need a blanket for under your forehead. You could also use a foam chip block if you've got a foam chip block, or a blanket fold like the one I have here under the forehead. Bolster goes under the tops of the feet. If you already know where you're going with this pose, just go ahead. You don't have to wait for me to explain it. And I will demonstrate, and then you can set up the same thing. The last element is a roll underneath the pelvis, right? So right underneath the hip crease. Now, those of us with low back issues, I find a low roll serves me better than a high roll. You may be the same, you may be different. If you have low back issues, you may find a high roll is too much. So totally adjustable. maybe just a half roll to start, and then you can always change it. The extra blanket can be either be under the belly or the legs. It doesn't really matter too much. And then you want to place that roll right underneath the hip crease, which is right where your leg attaches to your torso. The tops of your ankles are on this bolster, so make sure that's square. Make sure that it's even and not lopsided. And then sliding those blocks under the tops of the arm bones, your arms are going to be beside your body, not out to the sides, because that's going to create a pressure point. So you want to make sure that the tops of the arm bones and fronts of the shoulders are supported. And then finally, your forehead is supported. So again, that theme of third eye contacting and being supported. Lots of space for the nose to breathe. Make any little adjustments that you need. Again, with restoratives, you're always looking for comfort. So if something's missing in the comfort department, make sure you adjust as needed here. So you should feel pretty relaxed when you get into the position. Feel supported. Of course, a couple of ha breaths to help us get there with a smile. Releasing the full body weight. And we can come back to our internal sounding of Om, long Om. It's repeating Om internally. Feel the release through the upper back and shoulders as your heart melts down. Feel free to take a couple more ha breaths here. As you sigh out, feel the heart melting more. Beautiful work. When you're ready, very gently lift the head. You can walk the body up, move your blocks away. Maybe a little forearm push up as we press up and come into a child's pose just for a breath or two. And then we're actually going to set up a restorative child's pose as our last position. So you can use your bolster here. Such a great therapeutic pose. Bolster, maybe 2 bolsters if you don't find enough support from one bolster, or maybe a bolster blanket combo. The idea being you want to fill up the space between your torso, your belly, and the floor using your bolster. So bringing it in close to the body without sitting on it. Get the belly on top of the bolster, and then slowly walk your upper body down. So you can rest the head again on the hands, or if you prefer, you can turn your head to the side. Since we've been working so much with this sort of third eye center, you might want to continue to rest the third eye on the hands here. And we'll just take a few breaths here, letting ourselves soften. Each exhale, feel heavier. The way I like to chant Om internally is I take a deep breath in, and then as I exhale a long breath out, I imagine that I'm chanting Om. So the breath lasts as long as my imaginary Om. And I'm hearing that Om internally, the vibration, the sound happening internally. And you're welcome to stay here longer. When you're ready, gently deepen your breath. Start to walk yourself up. Just make your way into Shavasana for relaxation. Stretching, coming to laying down on your backs. Feel free to put a bolster under your knees or a blanket over the body. Stretch arms and legs out long. Take a deep cleansing breath when you get there. Close your eyes and let yourself melt in again, once again, to the support of the earth. Feeling the backs of the hips sinking down into the floor, the backs of the shoulders. Take another nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, feel the arms sinking down, the hands, the shoulders, the legs, and the feet. There's absolutely nothing to do here. Just rest and breathe and hear the sound of Om like waves in the background. And leave the sound of Om. Take a nice deep breath here. If you're ready to come to seated, start to circle your ankles, your wrists. Take a little stretch when you're ready. Bend your knees and roll onto your right side. Rest your head on your arm. Keep your eyes closed. You're still internally focused. Notice how you feel. And just honor yourself with this coming back process. Take your time. When you're ready, use your helping hands on the floor to walk yourself back up to seated. And find your seat and find your little piece of paper with your 3 intentions on it. Have that close by. And I'll invite you to bring your right hand to your belly, your left hand to the heart. And we're going to work with the first intention, the first word or words on your list of things you're inviting in and manifesting. Whatever that first item is on your list, I want you to visualize what that would look like if it came to fruition, or when it comes to fruition, I should say. How does it manifest in your life? How would you feel? What would you be doing? What would be happening around you? What would other people be doing? So just take a moment with that first item and visualize the manifestation of it. And then also observe the feeling that gives you. Just let yourself rest in that feeling for a moment. And then we'll do the same thing for the second item on the list. For the second item, manifesting, what would that look like in your life? How would that show up? What would you be doing? What would you be thinking? What would other people be doing? What would be going on? Visualize every detail that you can. And then observe how that would make you feel. What's the feeling? Sink into that for a moment. You want to really feel these viscerally. Let's do the last one, the last item on the list. What does that look like? How does it manifest? What are you doing? And how does it make you feel? Then take a deep breath into that feeling and exhale it out. Release your hands, bring your hands together at your heart. We'll rub the palms together. It's like you're rubbing all that goodness and energy together. And then place it on your heart. May all beings be peaceful, happy, and free. Thank you for being here this evening. Namaste. Have a nice evening. Enjoy your sleep. And Nancy, have a great trip if I don't see you before you go. Have fun. Thanks, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon. Night, night.